Good day. We're going to talk about the economic development of central China and the role of the Three Gorges Dam. We're going to discuss the economic development made possible by the Three Gorges Dam through the four concepts of space: location, distance, territory, place, and scale. The Three Gorges Dam is the world's largest power station. In 2018, they generated 100 billion kilowatt hours. Started in 1993, it became fully operational in 2012 at a cost of 184.9 billion yen. Add an additional 69 billion yen to include the resettlement costs of the 1.3 million displaced persons. Its impressive construction and operation has had huge environmental, economic, and social impacts on the area, the country, and the world, some of which we'll discuss today. One of the mother rivers in China, the Yangtze River, originates from the highlands in the plateau of Tibet. The headwaters begin between the Kunlun, Himalayas, and Karakoram mountain ranges. The meltwaters flow through mountain valleys, 6,300 kilometers east, crossing 11 provinces. There are 8 main tributaries that flow into the Yangtze, draining 1.8 million square kilometers. Since the 1950s, the river and its basin have been the focus of much of China's economic modernization. The Yangtze Basin contains 35% of China's, or 8% of the world's population. There are 400 million people who live in the watershed, and 200 million people who live along the river, but the distribution is uneven. The highland area of the river's upper reaches is among the most sparsely settled regions in China, while the Yangtze Delta has the country's highest population density. Outside the delta, the greatest concentrations of people are in the plains that adjoin the banks of the river and its tributaries in the middle and lower basins, especially in the vicinity of several cities, including Wuhan. The cities along the river are among the largest in China, and Shanghai is the country's most populous and main foreign commercial base on the coast. Half of China's crop production is grown in the Yangtze River Basin, which include rice, cotton, wheat, barley, corn, beans, and hemp. The fishing trade is also an important commodity, where hundreds of fish species are in the rivers. 30 are economically important. These areas have the highest precipitation. There are dangers of floods and periods of drought during the year. 60 to 80% of the rain falls in summertime. Extensive irrigation has existed from ancient times, and modern projects have been built, the largest being the Three Gorges project. China needed more electricity to meet its economic targets through the 1980s and 90s. Taking advantage of the natural topography of the Three Gorges along the Yangtze River in Hubei province, Three Gorges Dam was built because of its strategic location. Wuhan, the provincial capital of Hubei, has been an economic hub of central China for centuries, and it's located 360 kilometers downstream from the dam. Shanghai, the most populous city and major shipping port in China, is almost 1,200 kilometers at the coast. All the cities and industries along the river greatly benefit from the power generated at the dam. 300 of the 500 world's top companies have a presence in Wuhan, and the abundance of power and access to the Yangtze River and the ocean. Wuhan maintains its trading hub status as the main connection to the market from central China.
Hello everyone, I'm Andrew. Today I'm going to talk about territory and place, population and area. Located in East Asia, China is the world's third largest country by area, covering approximately 9.6 million square kilometers. It is the world's most populous country, with a population of around 1.4 billion. By the end of 2018, China accounted for about 20% of the world's total population. Economy of China. Since 2010, China had the world's second largest economy in terms of nominal GDP, totaling approximately $13.5 trillion in 2018. Figure 1 indicates that China's economic growth has been consistently above 6% since 1978. China's economy accounted for 18% of the global economic in 2018. Import and export. China is the member of the WTO and is the world's largest trading power. China is the world's largest exporter and the second largest importer of the goods. The energy consumption. China is the largest producer and consumer of coal in the world, and China's dependence on foreign oil reached above 70% in recent years. One of the goals of the three Gorges Dam is to use the hydropower of the Yangtze River. China's economic development is uneven. Although China's GDP is the second largest in the world, China's per capita GDP is not high. Its development is uneven. Its major cities and coastal areas are more prosperous compared to rural and interior regions. There are still many people living in poverty. The Gorges Dam has promoted the development of the local economy. For example, it has given a boost to local tourism. The traffic in West China is poor. Poor transport in West China are hampering their economic development. The three Gorges Dam has improved transport capacity on the Yangtze River. The Yangtze River basin is prone to floods. Serious floods often occur in the Yangtze River basin. The three Gorges Dam has mitigated the flood damage. China relies mainly on thermal power generation. The Yangtze River is rich in hydraulic resources. Figure 2 indicates that China relies mainly on thermal power generation. The three Gorges Dam has not only developed the local economy, but also promoted the sustainable development of the local area. That's all. Thank you.
In this part, we're going to introduce about the pros and cons of the Three Gorges Dam, which is the benefit and maybe some problems caused by this project. The first one is about the flow control. The flow control capacity may be not as good as imagined. Among all Three Gorges Dam pros and cons, its flow control capacity is the most controversial. It is true that the Three Gorges Dam has a great ability to adjust and restore the flow with a reservoir capacity of around 40 billion cubic meters, which could reduce the damage of Yangtze River flood, especially for the section in Hubei. However, a large amount of cobblestones are brought from the upstream and accumulated in the bottom of the Three Gorges reservoir, which is difficult for removing. As time goes by, More and more cobbles will accumulate, resulting in less water capacity and weaker flow control capacity. Meanwhile, sand and mud are blocked upstream so that the clear flowing water in downstream erode banks more easily, which can leave the bank broken and causes flaws. The power generation. As the world's largest power station of 22 million watts, Three Gorges Dam project has installed 32 main turbines with 2 smaller generators to power the plant itself. From 2003 to 2014, the annual power generating is increasing, and there was 83.7 terawatt-hours in 2013 and 98.8 terawatt-hours in 2014. This electricity generating capacity has largely supported the whole nation's electricity usage. The navigation. After Three Gorges Dam was constructed, the upstream river became deeper and wider. Thus, the navigation condition is greatly improved, and the annual navigation time is prolonged and navigation ships became larger. It was once reported that 10,000-ton ships could easily get from Shanghai to Chongqing when the water level of the Three Gorges project reached like 175 meters. But there are numerous bridges over the Yangtze River. The distance between bridges and water surface does not allow the large ships to pass at all. Moreover, the traffic demand of the passing the ship lock of the Three Gorges Dam has already exceeded the annual design of the 100 million tons as early as in 2011. So, there is usually a long queue of ships that are waiting to pass the ship lock. The uncertain lifelong. The Three Gorges Dam has a long lifetime of over 500 years, depending on its good quality. That is to say, the dam would not be broken within the 5 centuries. In this way, Three Gorges Dam is extremely great. But in the aspect of making profits, Three Gorges Dam's economic service life is only 50 years. Even worse, like 40 years established by a Canadian organization. After that, it will be not for the money making to run the Three Gorges Dam. The ecological changes. The construction of the Three Gorges Dam changes the ecological environment of the Yangtze River basin. The down-cutting effect of the river water becomes more and more serious, making the water deeper so that the water level of Yangtze and the lakes in the middle and the lower reaches drops down. Some lakes, even like the lake beds, are exposed in the dry season. Because of the ecological system has been changed, some water creatures suffer from a danger of extinction. Except for the Three Gorges Dam pros and cons above. The construction submerges a large area and causes geographic differences from before as well, which leads more frequent of geological disasters such as landslides, mudslides, and even the earthquakes. Is Three Gorges Dam really that strong? This is one of the key causes of Three Gorges Dam pros and cons. Three Gorges Dam is a concrete gravity dam, and each dam block ensures its stability on its own gravity. Also, the entire dam was constructed with 27 million tons concrete, 290,000 tons reinforcing bars, and 250,000 tons steels, which is like an impregnable fortress. It is said that only nuclear weapons could damage it. Nonetheless, as a man-made architecture, Three Gorges Dam must have its structural weaknesses. As long as the most critical points of the machinic structure were found, several hundred kilograms of explosive could blow up the whole dam on purpose, needless to use an atomic bomb. In addition, Three Gorges Dam must be protected against war or terrorist attack. The cultural rules. Before being flooded for the construction of the Three Gorges Dam, the experts had tried their best to save the cultural relics, as much as possible. They moved some into the new sites, transferred some to the museums, or took photos as a reference to the later reproduction. But some sites were still partly flooded, such as the White Emperor City. Typically, White Emperor City on the hill became an island in the water. Other more sites were totally flooded. For example, inspection of the White Canal Ridge. The most precious relics in Three Gorges sank into the water forever. It is a great pity that so many scenic sites has disappeared. Mass migration. Migration of 1.2 million people in Chongqing and Hubei is the biggest difficulty as well as the core of the Three Gorges Dam project. The fund for migration covers like 45% of the total investment, and the migrants has to live and watch their homeland being flooded. Some of them were relocated nearby outside the dam area, but much more were relocated in the other provinces that far from their hometown. Even though the negative impacts mentioned have severely affected around the Three Gorges Dam, those even further downstream and those in some of China's largest cities. The dam over a long period of time will save hundreds of thousands of lives. The frequency of the risk for the flood events has been reduced from 1 in 10 years to 1 in 100 years. Those floods will have a big social impact such as the destruction of homes and loss of life. There's no doubt that the power generated from the power station within the dam is massively valuable to China. The clean energy provided is crucial to sustaining China's rapid economic growth, replacing some of the huge reliance on fossil fuels, which could harm the environment in various ways. It is observed that the Three Gorges Dam provides significant clean energy, flood protections, and navigational benefits to China as a nation. However, this benefits has been accumulated and accomplishment at expense to those living in the surrounding area, who were powerless to oppose to construction project and various negative impacts that have resulted from it. It is almost impossible to say that the benefits of the dam outweigh the several social impacts that it has caused to the people of the Yangtze River. As well, it is impossible to give a yes or no answer as to whether the project should have been given to the go-ahead.